Pesach is an expensive Chag. Maybe one of the most expensive ones. Anyone want to argue with me on that? So, I want to spend, this part of halakha is what to spend your money on. Okay? And just before that, maybe I'll just say, the Shulchan Aruch says, when it comes to spending money for Chag, and this is any Chag, and Shabbat, HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, Yisrael banai, levu alai, v'kitshu kedushat hayom v'ani poreh. It's a Gemara. And the person said, should add, צריך להוסיף כבוד ועונג יום טוב כמו שבת. שאף ביום טוב יש נשמה יתרה כמו שבת. He spent. Like we said, the story of Yosef Mokir Shabbat, he used to spend for money for Shabbat, and it comes back. And like we said on Otiot Tishrei, whenever you spend for Tishrei, Talmud Torah, Shabbat, Rosh Chodesh, or Yom Tov, everything comes back. Now, what should you do with your money on this is the week where you're going to be spending, if maybe you've done already your shopping before. So there's a few things that it's important to buy. I want to talk about what needs to have a hechsher for Pesach, what doesn't need a hechsher for Pesach, and what do you want to do? Yeah, listen, I can spend, but I have a limited amount of money. What should I do? So I will talk about what to buy for the Seder, for Lela Seder, for the Seder plate, and for Onig Yom Tov. So first thing, the first halacha of Shulchan Aruch of Hilchot Pesach is something which is called Kimcha de Pesach, which means before you spend money on yourself, you spend money on others. Why? What is Kimcha de Pesach? Literally means Kimcha is flour for Pesach. Because in the olden days, what they used to do, they used to make their own matzot. Okay, nowadays you go to the maybe Tesco or Kosher Kingdom or Kosher and you buy your matzot. Okay, in the olden days, everyone used to bake it themselves. They used to kosher their own oven, make matzot at home. However matzot they needed, the flour, it was cheap. Lechem oni, poor man's bread. That was how you used to make it, simple. Now it's called poor man's bread because it makes you poor, because matzah is expensive to buy. I know in Israel it's cheaper, but I don't know how much it costs for a kilo. How much is a box of shmura matzah? Maybe 20 pounds, maybe more.
I bought now.
It's cheap here.
35
It's cheap.
pounds.
How much?
Yeah, what?
35 pounds, the handmade.
30
Wow.
pounds?
35.
34.
35. No, but if you machine box 1 kilo, how much is it?
1 kilo? Wow, what? The boxes are cheap. Like a pound, £2
No, for Kosher, for Pesach, matzah.
Yeah, pound, 2.
Matzot Yehuda, I bought a small pack for £1 each.
Oh, wow. Okay.
America's
Small one,
expensive.
like maybe 10 matzot.
Okay, and shmura matzah, how much?
£3 per
I don't
the sheep.
know.
Oh, well, okay, so that's cheap then. Okay, I didn't know that. Okay, that's cheaper than here, actually, yeah.
Even Tesco do deals, like
Okay, so
mega deal.
The outlet.
so in the olden days, they used to fulfill Kimcha de Pesach by giving the poor people who couldn't afford.
Matzah shmura is £7.
It's £7. Okay, so we're going to talk about shmura.
Cheap was £5.
Okay, thank you. So before you're spending money on your matzah or on Yom Tov, the first halakha is to spend money on Kimcha de Pesach. So in the old days, we used to give flour, and nowadays we give money to the poor people that they should be able to buy their own matzah and food for Chag, for Yom Tov. We say on Leila said they call dichfin iteh ve'yochal. What do we say? Whoever wants to come and eat, come and eat. Now, why are you inviting them now? He's outside, he's hungry, he doesn't have food, he can't even hear you. And you're saying at your table, kol dichfin iteh ve'yochal. So if you've given money beforehand, and there's ways to give it in your community, I think you can do it online and also in the Beit Din. If you go online, you can give it, or give it to Israel. And Hidabrut, they also have people where they give. But make sure you fulfill this halakha. You spend money for your family. So for the basic needs, spend the minimum amount of money for the Suda, for the poor people. That's the first thing you do, to fulfill the halakha. Second thing, halakha, is a mitzvah lesameach ishto b'chag, which means to make your wife happy. Now, I said this halakha because it's just as important, maybe even more important than all the other halachot. Now, it's not just like, okay, Rabbi is giving Shalom Bayit advice. Yeah, give your wife a present. It's nice. No, it's halacha. Halacha is that she has to be happy. You have to be happy, and your children have to be happy. So he says, a man, halacha, how is he happy? Basar v'yayin. Okay? Children, you give them toys, you give them sweets. Women, they need the clothes. You buy new clothes, that's what makes a woman happy. Now, I saw very interesting this year. There's a few halachic issues. What happens if you need to buy a new clothes to wear for Chag? What if she already has a new clothes? She bought herself a new clothes. I have to buy another new one she already bought. Or she already has.
Buy earrings.
Okay, it's a very good joke. So, this is actually machloket. According to the Shevet Levi, he says Joe's idea. He said, buy her jewelry. Buy her jewelry. Women like jewelry. Earrings is a nice idea. But according to Rav Eliashiv, he said, no, you have to buy clothes. If she already has the clothes, you buy another clothes. Because the clothes, women like clothes. That one makes her happy. She sees it, she's wearing it. Earrings, she sees when she looks in the mirror, she sees her earrings. But when she's wearing the clothes, she feels good. And that's according to Rav Eliashiv. According to the Shevet Levi, like Joe said, you can buy an earring. Now, what if you buy her clothes for Chol HaMoed? Is that enough? Weekday clothes. It's not fancy for Leila Seder, but it's nice to wear a weekday. Is that enough or not enough? Nice question, huh?
Well, it's not related to Chag.
Exactly, it's not related
Wait,
to Chag. Chol
do you
HaMoed,
say Chol HaMoed? What kind of is? There's less, shows less value.
so you should wear nicer clothes on Chol HaMoed, not like Shabbat clothes. Okay, according to the Kaf HaChaim, the person should have 4 different sets of clothes. Weekday clothes is the lowest level of clothes, then like a bit nicer for Chol HaMoed and Rosh Chodesh and for Chanukah, for Purim, a little bit nicer, like a nice weekday clothes, yeah? Like maybe what you'd go out with on a week. Then Shabbat clothes should be like the best clothes, and then a drop nicer is Yom Tov, a bit nicer than Shabbat. Yom Tov clothes. He said, if you buy new clothes for Chol HaMoed, according to the Chut Shani, with Rabbi Netanel Dadoun, he said, you're not Yotzeh. Why? Because it comes Leila Seder, you dress the children in new clothes, you're wearing it, she's working hard, then she doesn't have any new clothes. So you got to go wait for another 3 days, and then you can wear your new clothes. So no, you're not Yotzeh mitzvah. Wait a second. Is Art still with us? Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. I want your participation. What do you think about the following question? Let's say you spend on your wife, she wants to buy she wants a new fridge. Okay? So you spend how much it costs for a new fridge or a new oven or a Kenwood. Okay, you got a good one. A nice oven you got a brand new one costs, I don't know, £500 cost. Yeah, you got a good one. Expensive. Now you still have to buy another £50 a shirt. Or dress, or is it Yotzeh with buying the kitchen, the electrical appliance?
I think you have to buy something for your wife. She just replied, you couldn't hear her, and she said it's not a present for the wife, a fridge.
Okay,
With all
thank
due
you.
respect.
Thank you very much. So exactly, he says she's quite right, and Shevet Levi says that as well. It doesn't matter how much you spend on electrical appliances. It's not a gift. A gift has to be something that she can wear. So you can buy jewelry, you can buy clothes. According to the Biur Halacha, you should, or if you can't afford it, wear shoes. Buy clothes, something that she can wear for Chag. What if she says, I'm mochel? He said, yeah, I know we're tight now for money. This year is going to be there, and you already bought me last Chag, and I don't really need any clothes, and I have plenty of shoes, and I have plenty of clothes. I'm mochel. How do you say mochel in English?
Forgive?
Wave.
Yeah, it's a wave, I forgive, or I'm mochel. You don't need to buy me, it's okay. Now, but fulfill the halacha or no? She's mochel.
No, but I'm not sure. How is it possible if it's the?
If I owe you money, Gilad, okay, I say, okay, Gilad, you lend me £100. Thank you very much. I want to pay you back. And he said, no, it's okay. I'm mochel. That's fine, right?
But it's not the same thing. How is it possible if it's the halacha? I don't understand.
What he's saying is she. So you're not Yotzeh. You're saying she's not. You're not Yotzeh.
Of course not.
Of course not. Okay, so absolutely right. Gilad said, you're not Yotzeh, even if she's forgiving you. Why? So first of all, you haven't fulfilled the halacha of buying her something and making her happy. And second of all, how can, according to Reb Chaim Kanievsky, she's not really mochel belev shalem. Even if she says I'm mochel, but she's not really, because she wants to be happy on the Chag, and you haven't fulfilled that mitzvah of making her happy on the Chag. So you say, you go to her and you say, listen, please, go out, go buy something where you want to buy shopping clothes, go online, choose something for yourself. They have something nice to wear on Chag, not on Chol HaMoed, on Chag. And this is really important. And the Gemara says, and this is the time to mention it. Okay, and I remember hearing this from my rabbi. Spending money on your wife is a mitzvah, and it's not a place to become stingy, okay? When you're spending money on mitzvot, money comes back. And the Gemara says specifically when you spend on your wife, the Gemara says, Amar Rava, he said to his Talmidim, Okiru lenashaychu. He said, honor your wife, respect your wife. He said, no, don't get me this cheap one from Tesco Extra. No, go to a designer. That's where you buy your clothes from. He said, you will become rich from it. Because the more you respect the Shekhinah now, according to the Kabbalistic level, on the mystical side, it's got a lot of depth to it. Because when you respect your wife representing the Shekhinah, that brings down from you Shefa. There's a lot of deep depth into it. And therefore, you're spending on your wife. It's like I'm spending on mitzvah, like I'm spending on tefillin. So this is what makes you happy. You like this one? You like it, I'm buying for you. So everyone make sure they fulfill that mitzvah, okay, of that. And children, it's easy, buy them good for you, give them a few sweets, a few toys, and easy to make them happy. But don't forget the children. This is the chag for them. You want them to remember their childhood. Pesach was a fun time, okay? And especially what the women go through with making Pesach, cleaning for Pesach, shopping for Pesach, cooking for Pesach. Make them feel happy about Pesach. You know, when they come to the Leil Seder, tired and exhausted, and at least they're wearing, nice clothes. It gives them a nice memories of the Chag. Okay. So that's what we're doing. So the next thing is, before buying, is selling. Everybody has to remember to sell your chametz. Now, how do you sell your chametz? So you go to Rabbi, sell your chametz, or can you sell chametz online? Can you do that?
Yeah, as long as you declare it. As long as you declare it, you say where it is.
So can I sell chametz on the phone?
No.
So I think that this
not
year, I
written.
think that it's allowed to sell online. So you can. I think that there are.
So absolutely, the halachic authority is that you can't actually sell online, but you can make a shliach. A shliach means a messenger. I can send a WhatsApp message or on the phone or on the internet and ask the Bet Din to be my shliach to sell the chametz for me. So they know all the halachic ramifications, how to sell it. Okay, selling needs to be done with a written document, with the kinyanim, the certain halachot of it. We don't know all the halachot, but you go to the Bet Din, they know how to do it. You can go online, the London Bet Din, the Sephardi Bet Din, all have websites, all have mechirat chametz. You don't have to do it, ask someone to do it for you. Now, when do you do the mechirat chametz? You can do that now. You don't have to wait until you finish all your bdikat chametz, Erev Pesach, and then sell your chametz. No. Even if your house is not ready for Pesach, this is a mistake you need to make. Get out of the way. Go to the rabbi, go online, say, I want to sell my chametz. Then later on, you get organized. You put all your chametz in your tarovet chametz in your kitchen cupboard, and you make a siman, sold to a goy, machur a goy, or not kosher for Pesach, and you just put if you have a cupboard or a few cupboards or a shelf, and you make a sign machur a goy, and that's fine. Then it all happens automatically. But you have to make sure to do that. It's very important mitzvah. Otherwise, it becomes a sur after Pesach. And then don't leave it because you forget about it. So that's mechirat chametz. Okay. No. Shopping. What do we need to buy for Pesach? So let's talk about, first of all, for Seder night itself. Matzah. So we said matzah, you have 1 pound, 2 pound matzah. You got the 5 pound, 7 pound shmura matzah. And you have the expensive for rich people only, or has 45 pound handmade matzah. So what should you buy for Pesach? Okay. So for Pesach, you can buy a regular matzot. If you want to buy 1 pound, buy what you enjoy eating. Okay, as long as it's kosher and it's certified as kosher matzah. And you have to be careful. There are matzot which is chametz. And I had the neighbor He came to me, he said, I couldn't believe it. I just went into one of the kosher shops, or I don't remember what it was, or maybe Tesco, and he bought a matzah. It looks like a regular box of matzah, but blue, and it says it's got a picture of matzah on it, and it says chametz. Why is it chametz? Because the same machines that make kosher matzah for Pesach, they also make matzah stam for all year round. People like to eat it. Ashkenazim like to eat it. Yeah, they make it, but they don't kosher it every 18 minutes. They don't clean it, and it's got chametz on it. So it's also to use their matzah. So you got to make sure you're buying kosher matzah. However, for Leil HaSeder itself is very important to make buy shmura matzah, and if you can, handmade matzah is the best. I know Rabbi David makes and he sells them also, not for £40, but I think for £20, handmade matzot for a packet, and it's very good that you can have shmura matzah handmade on Leil HaSeder. There is a special inyan to have them round on Leil HaSeder, one we spoke about in previous years. But if you can't find handmade, you can use machine made. But make sure shmura matzah, at least you have one box of the 7-pound shmura matzah machine for Leil HaSeder, and if you can and you can find it, get the handmade matzah for Leil HaSeder. First thing you buy. Second thing you buy is yain, dalit kosot. Even a poor man that goes knocking door to door, he has to make sure he sells even his clothes to buy wine for Leil HaSeder. Which wine should you use?
Which wine?
Which one? Yeah.
What do you mean, red?
Red or white? Red or white?
Red.
Red.
Red wine. Use red wine or grape juice. Okay, you don't have to have alcoholic beverage. It can be grape juice. According to Rabbi Yashiv, it's better to have yain, even not mevushal. But according to halacha, you can have yain, mevushal, or grape juice.
But it's 86 grams, right?
86 milliliters, even 81 milliliters is enough. So that's another thing to measure in your cup. If you have a small cup like this, okay, so you set most of it, there is a revit. That's how much you need to drink. Okay, we're going to do the halachot of Leil HaSeder B'ezrat Hashem next week when we do talk about Leil HaSeder itself and go through the parts of the Haggadah to get all ready for Leil HaSeder. But you want to make sure you buy enough grape juice for everyone at the table, and you need to have 4 cups about that measure. Okay? Even if you have big cups, you don't have to fill it all the way up, but you want to make sure you know how much it is beforehand. Okay, so let's talk about the seder plate. What needs to be on the seder plate? So we talk about the matzah and the wine. What else do we need?
The head of a lamb.
Head of a lamb. We do not need a head of a lamb. You're allowed to have a lamb. Okay.
Shank bone.
Shank bone. Excellent. What is a shank bone? Where did you get it from? What?
I don't know.
Exactly. So I remember the first time I was making Pesach a few years ago, and I was looking at everything. I was like, shank bone. What's a shank bone? Shank bone is a zroa. So zroa is the bone of traditionally is the lamb, but sometimes it's hard to find lamb. What do most people use? Chicken bone, wing. Chicken wing can be used as zroa, and most people use the zroa as the chicken wing. That's easy to get. Everyone can get chicken wing, and that's cheap. Doesn't cost anything. If you can get your Moroccan, which is Mahader and his minagim, so you go for the lamb for the zroa of the shank bone, the bone of the lamb. But you can use a chicken wing. That's enough for the zroa. That's one thing. Also, you need maror, lettuce. You want to make sure you buy lettuce for the maror. Karpas is celery. And what else you need? Charoset. Charoset. How do you make charoset? So either you can buy ready-made charoset, or you find someone who knows how to make charoset. What you make in a charoset is made from dates. Dates, silan, mixed in also with some nuts, apple, grape juice,
cinnamon,
wine. Yeah, you put it inside, and that's the tit. That's what you need for a seder plate. And the 5th thing is the egg, boiled egg. So those are the 5 things. Now you need to make sure you prepare that also beforehand for Erev Chag, because you got Shabbat coming in. So you want to all make sure ready. So you're going to check the celery and check the maror that's all ready for it. So, okay, that's your seder plate. Now what about other food? Other food for Pesach, well, you're going to have 7 days. So I'm going to talk a bit about kashrut. And food that you buy for Pesach. Stam food, chocolate spread, you're going to buy, you want to have chocolate with your matzah, okay? ketchup, mayonnaise, different tavlinim, spices, drinks, other food. What needs a kashrut and what doesn't need a kashrut? Okay, so let me talk about first what does need to have a kashrut. So first of all, you need to be careful. Anything that's made in a factory, okay, because of the process of the factories, all they care about in the factory is their profits. Okay, they don't care about your health and they don't care about your kashrut. So someone from a health point of view, you want to have a little bit processed foods. But anything which is made in a factory, because it's made on such a large level on a scale and they ship it to different countries, what's inside it enhances, stabilizes, flavorings, preservatives, citric acid, they contain citric acid, glucose, and starch, which has yeast extract. Yeast extract is chametz gamur. And that's what they put in a lot of times in processed foods, which contains glucose. Now you look at it, yeah, it's got glucose, that's fine. Glucose and starch is chametz gamur. Citric acid is a lot of preservatives, that's machloket if it's chametz or not. Okay, but other things is, now you think it's the simple foods, soya oil. I'm going to just say a few problems in factories. One of the things is, even in factories, if they make the whole year food which contains chametz, and then on Pesach they'll kosher it, most factories don't really want to bother koshering there, because to kosher the whole factory is going to maybe take a week of work or 2 weeks of work to kosher everything properly, and it's not worth it for them business level. So for them, most factories, if it's not kosher the whole year round, they're not going to do special koshering for Pesach. They won't bother for it. And also to buy different ingredients to make sure they're kosher, that it's going to be more expensive for them. I'll just give a few examples. Oil. The oil can buy, you can have sunflower oil or canola oil. In Israel, have soya oil. There's no badatz kasher on soya oil. Why? Because the soya beans, when you buy them, the factory buys them, in the soya beans, they have to do sifting. They have to livror, how do you say in English? To livror it, they have to sieve the soya beans to make sure only the soya beans comes out and not the wheat. Now, I don't know why, the way they harvest it or the way they package it, there's wheat, which is a lot inside of it. And to get pure soya oil without any wheat or anything which is for chametz in it, it's very expensive.
But in soya milk, for example?
So soya milk, I don't know. Soya milk may be different, but you definitely need to have a kashrut for it. A proper good kashrut, apart from the fact that it's kitniot. But I'm not talking about even kitniot right now. Another problem, I'll give you an example, is for example, frozen chips, okay? Or frozen artichokes. What's the problem with that? If it would only be potato and artichoke, then it's fine. However, artichoke, it comes black, it goes dark. How do they stop it from becoming black? They freeze it. Before they freeze it, they put it in citric acid. Citric acid, that keeps the color fresh. Citric acid, according to the poskim, is chametz. Chips, how do they make chips? Before you buy chips, and this is also why you buy chips, frozen chips, you need to buy with a hechsher. Why? First of all, they're cooked. They chop it up and they give it a heat of cooking them, and then you've got bishul akum. Now before they also goes into oil. They're all smeared with oil, and you have to make sure the oil is kosher, especially if it's kosher for Pesach. Could be it's kitnion. It could be it's mixed with soy oil. It could be that has also yeast in it. All manufactured and processed food is going to be a problem. Vitamin C also contains citric acid. So things which you swallow, I have to say this halakha. What about paracetamol or pills that you swallow? You have to be checked for chametz? No. Why not? Anything that you swallow and you don't taste doesn't need to be checked. If it tastes, then you have to check it for chametz. You have to have a hechsher on it. Now you should know that all pills that you swallow, none of them need to be checked for hechsher. Even if it's got gelatin and chazir inside it, if it's swallowing, doesn't go through the mouth, you haven't tasted it. Especially a lot of them are chemically, there's no ra'ui l'achilat kelev, it's completely solid, it's all chemical. So it's even considered food. sausages and burgers, or they also have to be checked for chametz, and it has to have a proper kashrut for chametz for them. All this meat and all processed food. Frozen fish. Let's talk about fish. So let's do just to summarize, anything which is processed in a factory, even if it's frozen, it needs to be kosher for Pesach, because you don't know what they use in it, the preservatives, the enhancers, the stabilizers, the flavorings, all can have inside a glucose and starch, which is chametz gamur. Anything which is fresh, which I'm talking about fresh milk, fresh eggs, fresh fish, fresh fruits, fresh vegetables, everything is kosher at Pesach. That's absolutely fine. Fish which is frozen. Fish which is frozen is injected. They're injected in freezer. It's not just fish which you get inside. So if you buy frozen fish, you need to make sure it's kosher at Pesach. Canned fish. And here I'm going to talk about the difference between canned fish, tuna, and salmon. Tuna, there's a problem even all year round, not Pesach. Tuna needs to be bought from a kosher tuna. Why? Because there's different varieties of tuna fish. Okay, and there's some tuna fish which is kosher, and there's some which is not kosher. If you buy the tuna fish, it's already cooked. So even if it's a kosher tuna, the cooking, who's it done by? It's done by a goy. Goy is bishul akum. If a goy fries an egg, you're not allowed to eat the egg, because it's bishul akum, it's isur. It has to be done by a Jew. So why is kosher tuna more expensive than non-kosher tuna? Because it gets cooked in China, and in China you have to have a Jew who's there and he's cooking the food. You know, if you have a Mr. Baker, you've got making the sushi. They have the rice. Okay, so there's a Chinese guy making the rice, but the mashkiach comes in and he cooks the rice. Make sure there's no bishul akum. Smoked salmon, however, you can buy from Tesco. Why? What's the difference between smoked salmon and tuna? So there's two differences. Number one, the salmon, all salmon is kosher. Okay, there's no types of no kosher salmon. Salmon is kosher. Second thing is, the salmon is not cooked, it's smoked. What's the difference between smoked and cooked? By smoking, there's no isur of bishul akum. Only by cooking. So if the salmon is smoked, you can buy it even from Tesco. It doesn't need a kashrut. Okay, so that's it. So for the kashrut of Pesach, anything which is factory, or even if it's fresh, but it's packaged. If it's packaged, you don't know what's in the packaging. Sometimes they can things and they can it with chametz, and then they just do kosher for Pesach. So you've got to make sure it's kosher on it. Even if it's just one ingredient, but it's canned. Anything which is fresh, fruit, vegetables, bottled water, doesn't need a hechsher for Pesach. Buy Tesco water, that's fine. Go to Tesco, buy vegetables and fruits. Buy eggs, that's fine. Also sugar, just sugar, or just salt, or also Nescafe Gold is also kosher for Pesach. And tablets, which you swallow, also doesn't need a hechsher. But everything else would need the kashrut for Pesach. Just a final question. What happens if you have a grape juice which is kosher for Pesach and it's opened? Can you use it on Pesach? Or is that a problem? You use the soda with chametz. What would you say about that? Oh, it's scratching his head out.
Yeah.
I had one on the table, grape juice, and it's opened. And I had it on the table with chametz, and I ate chametz on it. And now, I still got half a bottle left. I want to use it on Pesach.
How can you be sure that chametz didn't fall inside? It's a.
Wait, where the chametz fall inside?
I don't know. I'm just asking. Oh.
You're thinking, okay. So, normally, when you pour yourself wine and you close the bottle. Chametz doesn't come inside. What's inside is kosher Pesach. You don't need to sell it to a goy. The only problem is the outside of the bottle, because you're touching the bottle when you're touching bread. But if you give the bottle a wipe, you just wipe it with a wipe and it's clean. Everything inside is kosher. Not worried about the chametz jumping inside. That's your poor halakha. Is there any other questions for kashrut or for Leil Seder.
So, Rabbi, so tablets, vitamins, and so on, it's okay.
Okay, so wait a second. So vitamins is different to tablets. It's good you mentioned it. Okay. Vitamins, especially vitamin C, which you taste are chewable. Okay. That is chametz gamor. You have to make sure you're not using on Pesach, or you get a kasher, one for kashrut for Pesach. Tablets which you swallow and you don't taste, that doesn't need any kashrut for Pesach. Even for during the year, it doesn't need the kashrut. That's fine. Okay.
Which tablet? What you swallow?
Vitamins which you swallow and you don't taste, them, this just doesn't need the kashrut for Pesach. Okay. Any further questions? No. Okay. Thank you for joining me. Yes.
One thing about this Shabbat that comes out before Pesach.
Yeah. So we spoke about it in the first year, and we're going to speak about it next week.
So I know I got an update.
Yeah.
I told you for this because my Gemara shiur today was cancelled. That's why I'm with this shiur.
Okay. Welcome. Thank you for joining us. What's your question?
I understand from everyone that we eat chametz on that Shabbat, on this Shabbat.
There's two options.
Shabbat Hagadol.
Yeah, there's two options.
No, but this Shabbat is Shabbat Hagadol, not next Shabbat.
No, next
Shabbat.
Technically next Shabbat. This week is Shabbat Hagadol because we say the Rashat of Shabbat Hagadol because we make it early. But really, the Shabbat before Pesach is next week. Yeah, go ahead. What's your question?
Do I eat chametz?
Okay, so
And
you have to
and risking by doing achana on Shabbat for Yom Tov.
What do you mean by achana for Yom Tov?
I need to clean. I need to throw away. I need to prepare take away my chametz.
Okay, so I will say the two options. Okay, I'm just going to summarize it briefly. There's two options what you can do. First of all, everything has to be kosher for Pesach. Okay, everything, all the food you're cooking in kelim shel kosher Pesach and everything's kosher Pesach. There's no chametz in the house. The two options. One option is having bread, lechem mishneh, or either pita bread or lachmaniot rolls. And the other option is having matzah mevushal or matzah metugan. That's the two options.
What is matzah shira? My father told me as well.
No, one second. Just slowly. Matzah shira is mezonot. Matzah shira is not hamotzi. For hamotzi, there's two options. Okay? So either you can do bread or pita bread, which doesn't do crumbs. That's one option. The other option is matzah mevushal, matzah metugenet. Now let me explain. Whatever you do, a whole house is kosher for Pesach and there's no chametz in the house. Only this hamotzi which you keep in a bag. Okay? There's different advantages of both methods, and I'm going to say what the advantages are, and then everyone chooses for himself. I thought I was going to do the pita bread option, but I think I'm going to change my for the matzah. But both is kosher. I will say now. If you're doing the hamotzi level, then what you have to make sure is you do biur chametz on Friday. On Friday do biur chametz, apart from that one bag of pita bread that you have. Then on Sudat Shabbat, you serve everything in the kitchen on plastics. Okay, that means you have your kosher Pesach food in the kitchen. You serve it in plastic dishes, and then you serve it to the table. What goes out of the kitchen doesn't come back. On the table, you open your pita bread, you make hamotzi, and you first eat your hamotzi. Then you finish eating your hamotzi, you eat your seudah, your chamin, your salatim, whatever. You finish your seudah, you do birkat hamazon, you wrap up everything in plastic bag or from plastic tablecloth. You put it all in the bag and you take it outside your house, outside into the public dustbin. Now, if you have a dustbin which has your name on it, yeah, number, I don't know, wherever you live in, number 11, Vivian Avenue, okay, that's already your reshut. You have a problem with it.
Should I put in my neighbors then?
Okay. That's actually not a bad idea, actually. That's not a bad idea. If you have a non-Jewish neighbor, if he's nice enough, you give him a present. But yeah, that's actually not a bad idea. So that's one thing. Now,
give him all the whiskey that you, yeah.
Now, what are the problems of that? The problem is of that, first of all, the advantage is that you can actually have hamotzi. Number one advantage. Number two, you don't need to eat matzah before Leil Seder. Two good advantages. Disadvantages is if you have children or small children running around and you have the matzah, where are they going to go with this pita bread? Where are they going to touch? Where? I don't know, they touched on the chair, they touched on the tablecloth. You don't know what it is. Second problem is throwing it away on Pesach. You have to make sure you say kol chamira afterwards. You make sure you don't forget kol chamira. And third problem is what about your teeth?
But kol chamira, you say when you say biur chametz on Friday afternoon.
On Friday afternoon, you say kol chamira, and then and then again, chutz from what you're eating. Now you've just finished eating. You say kol chamira again because you just had the chametz.
So, but you don't have a nusach shoneh on Friday afternoon.
Yeah, so we're gonna talk about that next week about the nusach and everything. But that's the second problem. Third problem, and this is my biggest problem. This is why I changed my mind. Is that in your teeth you've got chametz. You're just chewing it. Now what are you gonna do? Brush your teeth on Shabbat? So if you're a person that can brush your teeth on Shabbat, that's fine. I can't brush my teeth on Shabbat. I bleed every time I brush my teeth. I can't cause myself to bleed on Shabbat. So however much I rinse my mouth, I'm worried about chametz in my mouth. So Friday, I finish my chametz, I go brush my teeth, I bleed, I wash it out, I call fine, call Pesa. That's my reason. But if you want to do that, it's fine. Second option, and this is Rabbi Vadia says you could do this, is to do it with matzah. Now there's a problem of not eating matzah before Leila Seder. There's halacha and minhag. Halacha, you're not allowed to eat matzah on the day of Pesach. Okay? Minhag is the day before.
But if you wash your mouth with this special
mouthwash,
yeah,
Listerine.
Yeah, so then you do the same like how you call
Agala.
Yeah, you put the chomer chimi.
You're pogem, yeah, it could be. It could be that. It could be not royal achilat kelev. That could be that's enough. That could be that's fine. But still, you have to have chametz in the house. The other alternative method is doing matzah mevushal, matzah metugenet. So there's two ways of doing this. You don't have to have matzah on Leila Seder, on the day before Pesach, on Erev Pesach, because you have to have matzah fresh in your mouth. You have to eat it lete'avon. Enjoy it when it's fresh. First time I'm eating matzah. Now, if you just had it the day before, it's not fresh. That's why we have minhag even 30 yom before Pesach. We don't eat matzah. However, there's only matzah which is kasher to be yotzeh chodeh chova on Leila Seder. If you have matzah metugan or matzah mevushal, cooked matzah, or fried matzah, then you're not yotzei dechova on Leila Seder. It doesn't have the taste of matzah. So how do you do that? You dip the matzah whole in egg or different flavor, and then you fry it. Then it changes its flavor of matzah, and you're not yotzei dechova on Leila Seder, and you can eat it on Shabbat and make a motzi. But it has to have two things. First of all, it has to keep its shape and tzura. If you crumble the matzah, you lose the bracha of motzi. Some people like matzah brai. On Pesach, matzah brai is mezonot. Why? Because you crumble the matzah. It doesn't have tzurat apat, and it's less than a kazait. So it's not going to be a motzi. But for the matzah to be a motzi, it needs to be the size of kazait. That means a whole matzah. You can round off the corners just to make it fit in the frying pan. That's fine. But you have to make sure shir kazait and tzurat apat.
And the fry should be.
And it has to change flavor. Change flavor. What do you ask?
The fry should be already kosher for Pesach.
What do you mean?
You make it with the fry on Friday afternoon, which is already kosher.
Yeah, of course. So already on Friday or Thursday night, even beforehand, you go in the kosher kitchen, you take out the kosher Pesach frying pan, and you fry your matzot. Another way to do it, if you don't like frying and turning with them, I see somebody had also clever idea. He makes a soup, vegetable soup, and then he dips the matzah in the vegetable soup. The matzah absorbs the flavor of the soup, and you leave it for a minute, or a few seconds. And then you take it out when it's wet and it dries. Once you leave it out to dry, it absorbs all the flavoring. It's become matzah mevushal, and it's got different taste. And then you can make still a motzi on it on Friday night and Shabbat morning. Technically, it's easier to do that. I don't know what it tastes like, but it's technically easier to do. If you have a lot of people, a lot of guests for Shabbat, you can do by one after the other. Those are the two options. That's easier option because you don't need to have chametz in the house. Let your children play around wherever they want. Eat it. It could be it's more expensive if matzah than pita. I don't know. It depends what you like.
And also in the morning in London, it's what 11:30 or 10:30. What's the last time?
I don't know the times. Well, maybe we'll check that out for next week. The times. It's that's another advantage.
The Suda Shniya.
Suda Shniya. Are you talking about Suda Shniya? Oh.
No. What's
Suda Shniya in
the
morning.
latest you can do Suda Shniya to if you use pita?
If you use pita, so I think it needs to be done before that. I think last time was 10 o'clock around that time. But we'll check the times for next week. And then Suda Shlishit. You need to have Suda Shlishit. Well, then what are you going to do? Anyway, you have to come up to the matzot option for Suda Shlishit. Because there's no way you can have matzot for Suda Shlishit unless you do matzah ashira. Matzah ashira is a good option, mazonot, for Suda Shlishit. But then you haven't done Namotzi. So those are options. Any further questions?
Thank you.
Okay, I'll rest my case. Okay. Shabbat Shalom. I hope you enjoyed the share. Thank you for joining us. By the way, can we just do a quick survey for next week? Are you interested in another show next week? Yes. So do you want to make it Wednesday? Wednesday or Tuesday? Because Thursday is
Wednesday, Tuesday or Tuesday probably easier because Wednesday it's already the madness of
Erev Chag. So can we just take a vote? Can we take a vote?